This afternoon we're sitting with a large elephant bull. As we came around the corner to one of the larger water holes, we saw him there busy having a drink. As we were settling down to try and film him, he then started spraying himself with some mud. And he does it for a number of different reasons. Firstly, just cooling himself off. As that mud and water evaporates from him, that'll then cool himself down, as well as then it'll coat him with a thin little layer of the mud, which makes it a bit more difficult for some of the flies and ticks to then bite him. But as you see, as he's throwing it and splashing himself with the water, he's trying to get it under his legs, under his belly, as well as behind his ears. As we know, elephants' ears make up about 20% of their entire body surface area. The ears are densely packed with a lot of blood vessels, and so for elephants to cool themselves down, they'll often flap their ears gently as they're moving. But now by throwing the mud and the water behind their ears, that then helps evaporate, removing some of that body heat away and cooling them down a little bit quicker. And after he's finished having his little drink and mud bath, he's now come across to the side here and he's just having a good feed on some grass which is found just on the edge of a termite mound. And we know that the soils within a termite mound are very fertile, and therefore the grasses that grow there are incredibly nutritious. The elephants have probably worked that out. This time of year there's a lot of grass around, but the grass is all flowering, and that inflorescence or the flowering part of the grass is packed with a lot of nutrients as well. So he's mostly trying to go for that. The stalks or the stems of the grass aren't really that vital to him. You can see an interesting thing there is when he's facing into the wind, he'll still be flapping his ears. But as he turned away and was facing basically towards our west, having the wind coming from behind him, he no longer needed to flap his ears. He just held them slightly ajar from his face, and that breeze blowing from behind him was doing all the work for him. Just a stunning scene here this afternoon. Clear blue skies, large elephant bull, and nice rolling hills in the background. Let's carry on and see what else we can do. We're spending a bit of time down in the deep southwestern parts of the reserve, so there's every chance of finding hopefully the ostrich family, or quite possibly, but very rare to see, is a cheetah. So sure enough, as we left that elephant bull, we've come probably about 300-400 meters down the road and found the ostrich family. Well, it's one of the ostrich families. There's 5 females here. We're not too sure where the male and female and all the other chicks are, and also on top of that, we actually haven't seen those chicks for quite some time, so we're not too sure exactly how many of them are left. Initially 14 had hatched, so it'll be very interesting to see exactly how many have survived up until this point. It's probably about 2 months since we last saw them. Great to see these 5 females. They're all doing pretty well, just moving through these open grasslands, feeding as they go. And you see their wings are often splayed out, also similar to the elephant with his ears. It's helping a breeze blow through there. You can see the bare skin underneath those wings. Having very thick, heavy feathers like that must be pretty hot, especially out in these open grasslands where there isn't too much shade. A little tactic of theirs to help cool themselves down, but as they're moving through here, just feeding on a lot of the plants, grass, a few leaves from some of the small shrubbery. It's great. Getting close to sunset, so we're hoping that we can maybe find a leopard or possibly some lions in this area. So from this morning we've heard that there was potentially a pair of leopards that are mating in this area. So we had switched off, and whilst we were waiting there, Jess has heard what she thought sounded like them mating. So we're just busy driving through the block now, hoping to either see them, and then every now and then we switch off and just allow ourselves another chance to listen out to see if we can hear them. Jess has just managed to find the Plaque Rock Female. She's perched up in a combretum tree there. It doesn't look too comfortable. As they arrived here, they saw the Maxim's male moving off into some of the thicker vegetation just beneath the tree. So he's going to sit it out. If he's still here, the fact that they're together means that they must be mating. So it's definitely something worthwhile sticking around to try and see. She's just come down out of the tree now, and we can hear some growling coming from right in front of the vehicle in the bushes here. So that means he must be there. And often with leopards mating, it's the female that does all of the flirting. She's the one that entices the male to mate. And so you can hear her growling around in the background there, moving around. You can see the grass and leaves moving, so we can't actually see exactly what's going on. But from previous experience and knowledge, we know that that's her trying to entice him to mate. Hopefully they come out into the open and we get to see them. But with the thick vegetation and grass around here at the moment, it's very unlikely that we're going to see much. There we go, they've just mated. Probably all of about 3 meters from the vehicle, but we could see absolutely nothing. We could just see the bushes and everything shake as he dismounts. And with cats mating, it's a very noisy and violent affair because the male has got these little barbs on his penis, and through the repeated copulations that then induces the female to ovulate, and they'll mate on average every 20 or so minutes for about 4 or 5 days, and so it's very persistent on his behalf. And eventually when she ovulates on about day 3, 4 or 5, he is then the one hoping to be around and the one to fertilize that egg when she does ovulate. This is great news for us that they're most likely going to be around together, but with the Maxim's male being quite skittish and nervous, and the grass being so long at this time of year, I can assure you it's going to be a pretty tough one to try and see. But you know what, persistence pays off, so let's see if we can get a good view this afternoon. If not, we might have to come out tomorrow morning and give it another bash and see if we can find them again. was a lot of aggression between the two, and they were crashing off into one of the bushes behind them. Once again, still very limited view for us, but they're right here, and so adrenaline's pretty high. Having these leopards growling and going after each other this close to the vehicle, it's pretty intense, and such an awesome sighting to be in, even though we can't really see what's going on. The female came right out and poked her head out, probably about a meter away from the vehicle there, and she was just staring up at us. So they now have walked a little bit further away. They're still in a thicket just behind us over here. They've just mated again, but it's making life pretty difficult trying to see these two leopards. But still very exciting nonetheless. It's starting to get quite dark now, so even if they do come out, we're going to have a tough time trying to see them, or trying to get any footage of them. So probably going to leave them just now, maybe head back towards camp. I'll come out first thing tomorrow morning, hoping to try and find them. The chances of them still being in this area is quite high, because in between mating periods, often the female will roll around on her back. That's believed to help fertilization, but they're not going to move huge distances in any one go. So they're going to be around here. We're bound to find some tracks somewhere, and then we can try and follow them from there and find them, or we just switch off and listen, because with that growling and the aggression during the mating, will help us then work out exactly where they are. It's been an amazing afternoon so far, and I mean, to have two leopards mating is phenomenal. So we've come back out pretty early this morning in the hopes of trying to find that pair of leopards from last night, and we're sitting pretty much in the last place where they were seen, and we're just going to patiently wait, hoping to hear some noises, because it's so difficult to be able to try and track them at this point. And once we hear where they are, we'll then try and get in there and hopefully find them from there. We've just heard what we thought was them growling, possibly mating in here. We can see a giraffe that's just staring around, so I presume they're somewhere close by here, but with it being the Maxim's male, it's quite unlikely that he's going to be out in the open letting us see him. And as we're arriving here, there's a hyena that's come walking in as well, just in front of us, so he's probably heard the growling and come across to investigate.